What if I told you these two phones are essentially the same phone? No, seriously. The brand new OnePlus N6 and the Realme P4R aren't just similar, they're so alike that after spending time with both, I genuinely struggle to find a meaningful difference between the two. Same battery, same camera, similar build, and basically the same processors. Ladies and gentlemen, the Realmification of OnePlus is officially here. Now, before the comments explode, hear me out. The Realme P4R starts at 18,999, but that's the 4GB plus 128GB variant. Realistically, you'll want the 6GB model that costs around 20,000. The OnePlus, though, comes in a little bit more expensive. The base 4 plus 128GB variant costs 22,999, while the 6GB variant costs 24,999. That's 5,000 rupees more. So what do you get out of extra 5,000? Which one should you actually buy? Or should you skip both? Let's find out, starting with the design. Yes, they look different from the back. Realme uses a vertical camera layout while OnePlus opts for a squarish camera island. But once you pick them up, they're almost twins. The buttons are identical, the ports are identical, even the microphone hole at the top is in the exact same place. Both have a plastic frame, a plastic back, and a glass front. Realme says it's Panda glass, OnePlus simply calls it hardened glass. Both also get an IP65 rating, a military standard 810H certification, and a side-mounted fingerprint scanner. It's almost like someone designed one phone and simply swapped the camera module. Speaking of which, don't let those 3 camera rings fool you. Only one camera is doing any meaningful work. I'm also a little disappointed OnePlus skipped the action key. It would have helped the phone stand out. Realme, meanwhile, gets its pulse light. It's small, but it gives the phone a little bit more personality. Connectivity is virtually identical too. Wi-Fi 5, Bluetooth 5.3, no eSIM, and a hybrid SIM tray with microSD support on both. Moving on to the display, both phones use a 6.8-inch LCD panel, although, disappointingly, both are only HD+. At this price point, a full HD display really should have been the minimum, especially for the OnePlus. Brightness peaks at 1200 nits, which is perfectly usable outdoors, but don't expect HDR support or an exceptional movie watching experience. Refresh rates are where things get funny. The OnePlus gets 120Hz, the Realme advertises a 144Hz. Sounds great until you realize that you can only get 144Hz in apps like the calculator and the compass. So yes, Realme technically wins on paper. In actual use, they're both identical. And honestly, none of this matters much for gaming because these processors simply aren't powerful enough to push those frame rates consistently. Speaking of performance, the Realme runs on the Dimensity 6300, the OnePlus gets the newer Dimensity 6360, which basically is the 6300 but with slightly faster GPUs. Other than that, everything is again essentially the same. And the benchmarks prove that. In Antutu, both the phones scored just a hair above 6 lakhs. Geekbench tells a similar story. Very tiny differences in a single core and multi-core scores. More importantly though, they feel the same. Scrolling is just as smooth. Apps open up more or less at the same time. And I didn't notice any major stutters during testing. Gaming is exactly what you'd expect. BGMI is perfectly playable, but both phones top out at 60 FPS because that's what the chipset is capable of. The similarities continue with the cameras. Both phones feature a 50-megapixel primary camera and an 8-megapixel selfie camera. Those extra camera lenses on the back, yeah, mostly decorative. Now, the main camera performs reasonably well in daylight. Colors are pleasing, dynamic range is respectable, and if you're posting on Instagram or WhatsApp, you'll probably be happy. Start zooming in though, and that's where the quality drops. Selfies are fine, not bad, not particularly impressive either. Personally, I think an 8-megapixel selfie camera feels dated in 2026. Video recording is equally modest. Both phones max out at 1080p 60 FPS from both the cameras. No 4K here. Now we finally get to the meaningful difference, software. The Realme P4R runs on Realme UI 7. The OnePlus ships the Oxygen OS 16. They're clearly cousins. You can see the shared DNA. But if I had to live with one every day, I'd pick the Oxygen OS. The interface feels cleaner, menus make more sense, and perhaps, most importantly, there's noticeably less bloatware. Realme still stuffs its phones with apps you'll probably uninstall immediately. You even get ads in the app drawer. OnePlus isn't completely innocent, but it's definitely the cleaner experience. Both promise 2 Android updates and 3 years of security patches. Realme says the phone will remain smooth for 4 years. OnePlus stretches that claim to 5. Although, honestly, with hardware like this, it's difficult to imagine most people keeping either phone for that long. Now, let's talk about the real reason people will buy these phones: the battery. Both pack enormous 8000 mAh batteries, and yes, the 3-day battery claim is actually believable. With lighter use, I even managed to push the OnePlus closer to 4 days. Charging is where reality kicks in. Both support 45-watt fast charging. Normally, that's perfectly fine. But charging an 8000 mAh battery takes time. A full charge takes roughly 1 hour and 45 minutes. Thankfully, both support bypass charging and reverse wire charging, so they can double as power banks. So, which one would I buy? Honestly, if you covered the logos and the camera module, I'd generally struggle to tell them apart. That's how similar these phones are. The biggest difference isn't the processor or the cameras or the battery, it's the software. Oxygen OS simply feels cleaner, lighter, and more polished. So yes, if I had to choose, I'd pick the OnePlus N6. But here's the funny part. After comparing these two, I don't actually think either would be my first recommendation. Instead, I'd seriously consider something like the iQOO Z10R, the Realme P4, or even the Poco X7 Pro. They're slightly older and maybe slightly more expensive, but that higher price is worth it. You're getting significantly more smartphone for your money at that point. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. And let me know in the comments which one you'd pick, or if you'd go for an older phone. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.